Welcome back to Salon Media, and you're still tuned into your home of humanitarian journalism. And This is a segment that we bring to you almost every day, where we give you the latest and some of the breaking news happening all across the world. This is hashtag Salon Media Highlights, and today we'll be delving into a very historic and tumultuous moment of Bangladesh history. As I think by now we all have heard that the country's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned and fled the nation amidst unprecedented levels of violence and unrest over the past month. Protest against the controversial quota system for civil service jobs, and I think it has spiraled into a full-blown crisis, resulting into a tragic loss of life and widespread chaos. And on Monday, this protest reached a dramatic climax with images broadcasted of crowds storming the Prime Minister's office, and subsequent reports revealed Hasina's abrupt departure from Bangladesh. In response, the military has intervened, promising to form an interim government as the nation grapples with one of its most severe political crises in decades. And to help us understand the gravity of the situation and its implications for Bangladesh, and what we can expect going forward, we're joined by Nazir. He's a head journalist at Kashmir Observer. Nazir, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show.
Yeah, I think after we all heard the news, I think for the longest of time, we all seen the video footages coming out of Bangladesh. We've seen on the news about just how the violence has escalated to levels that I think no one expected when the protest started. But I think just for context, if you can, to our viewers who might not have an idea to how we ultimately got to this point, and the subsequent resignation of Sheikh Hasina. What triggered these dramatic events out in Bangladesh?
See, when any controversial law or when any controversial ruling is passed on people who don't accept it, things like this are going to bound to happen. A quota bill was introduced in the parliament there, and which was largely contested by the students and many organizations, well-meaning organizations in Bangladesh, and that resulted in the unprecedented protests on the streets, which claimed the lives of nearly 300 people, mostly youngsters and the students. And this has also triggered to this level of violence when the controversial prime minister had to resign and fled the country. So going into the context of it, Bangladesh, this is not for the first time Bangladesh is going through this kind of chaos. It has also witnessed these kind of protests in the past also, and Sheikh Hasina has been also into the circle of this violence, not just today but earlier also. And today we have seen, just now before coming to the show, we have seen how Sheikh Hasina's father's statue were also brought down by the protesters who once respected him and loved him for the kind of contribution he had for the country. And this has also caused many concerns for the neighboring countries like India. Initially, the reports came in that Sheikh Hasina might fly to India, which is still not known where she has gone till now. And I think protesters have. I was just talking to a few of my friends in Dhaka, and protesters are demanding, if the Supreme Court and the army are going to constitute an interim government, but they want a democratic government, which means they're demanding elections as soon as possible in the country.
I want to touch a bit on that, because I think when these protests started, they were obviously because of that quota system for the civil service jobs. But it seems like they've escalated. They've become other social issues that the people of Kashmir were underlyingly unhappy with. But this quota system gave them kind of a reason to go out there to the streets and to protest. If you could share with us some of those reasons that are underlying outside of this quota system that they have for civil service jobs out in Bangladesh.
In Bangladesh, in Dhaka especially, when students, at a time when you have these unemployment rate is rising, and you have very meager avenues in the country. The quota system is which is being put on the place is coming up with a lot of disparities, and I think students largely have protested this. And this is not just the quota system; they were also, contesting a lot of other issues and a lot of other schemes that government had floated over the years, and corruption, political disability, and also the contestations from the opposition parties have also led to large number of these kind of protests. And meanwhile, the role of organizations like Jamaat Islamia have also kind of contributed to this kind of this, and student organizations have so far led this protests on the streets in Bangladesh. And this is not for the first time that Bangladesh is witnessing this. And Bangladesh at this point of time needs a stability, and it also needs some kind of support from the neighboring countries, so that it doesn't snowball into further controversy, or people in Bangladesh remain safe to a larger extent. We have just now received news that some of the neighboring states of India, they have been put on high alert, and the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, has urged its people to maintain calm and not pay any heed to the rumors that India was going to give refuge to Sheikh Hasina in the country. So larger contexts are that they're coming in, and but the neighboring countries have also to be keep in control.
Mm. We just got the news that the army has now stepped in to form an interim government of some sort. Do we so far have an idea of what is that going to look like, and what role are they expected to play in stabilizing the country, and how this might further impact the political landscape in Bangladesh?
See, the army's immediate role would be to, form the interim government, and there won't be any kind of, negotiations on that part. They have to secure the country's, sovereignty, and also give a notion to the world that interim government is going to take care of the crisis in the in the country. And what discussions were going on that, if India was going to give refuge to the Sheikh Hasina, and then a lot of discussions were also happening that she had a house in London and she might fly to London. But at the same time, for Bangladesh and for the interim regime, the biggest concern has to be to maintain peace on the streets, because it has already snowballed, it has already gone in out of their hands. So they have to maintain peace on the roads, and a lot of advisories from different neighboring countries have gone, and they have restricted the movement of their citizens to the Bangladesh.
Mm. I want us to focus a bit on, the legacy of Sheikh Hasina. She's obviously the daughter of, Sheikh Rahman, the founding father and, first president of Bangladesh. She has served for over 20 years, and she's the longest serving prime minister in the history of Bangladesh. But what would you, in a nutshell, say encapsulate her time as the prime minister of Bangladesh? If you were to just summarize her tenure and her time as the leader of Bangladesh, what would that look like?
See, if you're ruling a country and you are not able to understand the pulse of the people, you are going to get into the controversies. And I think same has happened for Sheikh Hasina, who has ruled the country for over the decades. And I think Sheikh Hasina's father, who had a legacy of forming and contributing so much to Bangladesh, it is just because of some of the controversial laws and regulations. Because of her, the entire legacy has been brought down, and the entire legacy has been tarnished. And this is not just for the first time. Sheikh Hasina has earlier also got into the controversies, but this time you took the lead, and they just changed the discourse in the country, and forced her to resign, and forced her to come into public and apologize for whatever she has done, and for whatever has happened over the months in Bangladesh, the kind of violence it has witnessed. and the kind of violence, due to violence, how many people have lost their lives. So this is the time that Sheikh Hasina had to actually do something politically and diplomatically with the people of Bangladesh, not just taking refuge into her egos and political advisories, but she has failed on that front, and that is the reason she has been asked to take a safe route and save herself and her family from the wrath of public.
And you mentioned just briefly that you have some contacts out in Bangladesh. You have your ear on the ground with regards to what's happening. If you can give us, the public consensus, what's the general, sentiment about the future of the country now with the ousting of Sheikh Hasina?
When people get the desired results, right now the youngsters, the protesters on the streets feel elated because they have overthrown someone who had issued controversial laws, who had issued laws because of which a lot of people lost their lives, and I think they are happy about it. But at the same time, they are of the opinion that Bangladesh is in dire need of democratic political setup, and not just the army in term in a government. So they definitely want that democratic setup should come back to the country, so that country's disco course of action is taken ahead.
And you mentioned that one of the key and first responsibilities of this interim government, that is obviously comprising of the army, is to try and build some kind of future governance for the country, and that obviously means the country going into elections through a democratic process. Are there any potential candidates or political groups that you might see, emerge as key players in shaping the future of Bangladesh and the direction that they might go to next?
I think immediately what we have to see is how Bangladesh gets back on the track, and immediately you will have to also see the role of Jamaat Islamia and other political parties that are going to play its part. But right now, the entire focus would be on interim government maintaining peace and calm, because everybody is so scared. Everybody is wanting to have a safe and secure life in Bangladesh, and at the same time this political instability is going to be in the country for a while, because it is not easy to call for elections so immediately. It is going to take some time, and at the same time the parties involved and the opposition parties, they are also going to play their part in the country's political process.
All right. I think we're going to leave it there, Nazir. Thank you so much for giving us your time and shedding some light about, the current political events unfolding out in Kashmir. And I'm sure there's going to be major, major developments as the country tries to find its feet after, these, shocking and quite disturbing turn of events. And I definitely will be chatting to you a bit more just to get the latest from there. But we're going to leave it here for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Saralu. Thank you so much.
There you have it. That was Nazir Ganaie coming to us live from Kashmir, the closest person really we can get to give us the latest coming out of Bangladesh, because either the people in that part of the world don't want to talk, or there isn't, stable internet. In the social media is being, cut down and all of that. So it's difficult to try and get someone that's there. But I think Nazir, they gave us the most that anyone could have given us coming out of Bangladesh. This is a story that we'll be following closely, and I'm pretty sure we'll be getting more details about what to expect coming out of Bangladesh tomorrow morning on News and Views. But I'm going to leave it here for now. For myself, Salad, and the rest of the team, let's goodbye.